In Tim Burton's world, anything can happen. A self-described happy-go-lucky manic-depressive, this director is a man of unique vision. He's sentimental, he's quirky, he doesn't take himself too seriously, and above all, he's highly creative. It's always been that way. Born in 1958 in Burbank, California, Burton is the oldest son of a retired professional baseball player who worked for the city. His mother ran a gift shop. As far back as he can remember, Tim felt different, and drawing became his refuge. After working as an animator at Disney, Burton directed his first feature film, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Since then, his blend of the bizarre and the banal has translated into a non-stop string of successes at the box office. At the age of 28, Tim Burton was chosen to direct what would become a phenomenon of pop culture. Generating billions of dollars, Burton's Batman was a record breaker. The poignant fairy tale of Edward Scissorhands was the sleeper hit of the 1990 Christmas season. In Batman Returns, Burton was fascinated by the complexities of the characters, focusing on their mix of good and evil, creating a place where the outlandish is to be expected.
What's this? What's this? There's powder everywhere. What's this? There's white things in the air.
Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas is the latest surreal expression of the outsider who feels misperceived, a recurring theme in his movies and his life.
Well, it's not that I wanted to or you go to search that out. I think it's just the thing that society tends to do to people, not just myself. I think in everybody, they just kind of make everybody, you know, you're this and you're that and everybody's something, you know. It's like everybody gets put into like this category, and it's like, you know, after a certain time, you either kind of fall into it or it makes you kind of sad and you just kind of you just don't like it. So I think it's just something that is felt like it's always there in some way or another.
So you're saying that it's a combination of being forced to live up to other people's expectations, and
well, yeah, and just it's just so weird to the people when people say you're this, and it's not maybe necessarily the way you feel. So it's like you're always at odds with what people are saying and then what you feel. So you know, when you're small and you don't have any other context and you grow up, it's like when people are telling you something, but it's not the way you feel, it makes you feel very interior. It makes you feel very whatever, sad or lonely or weird. Like, well, you know, am I that or am I what's inside? And it's just kind of confuses you, really, the whole thing.
Right. But you said you've always been fascinated by holidays. Why? Did you
well, I think it's like kind of growing up in a kind of a sparse environment, you know. It's like when you, I don't really know. I think that you grow up in kind of a suburban environment that's fairly sparse, where there's not a lot of emotional sort of things going on, that you sort of gravitate towards anything, you know. And those were the times of years where at least there was some imagery, you know, presenting itself. You know, you could walk into Thrifty's and, oh, wow, you know, there's like Halloween stuff or Christmas stuff. You know, it's something that we would kind of punch through a certain kind of environment. And, you know, I think that has as much to do with it as anything. It's sort of a creation of a ritual in some way.
I know, tell me if I'm wrong. I get the feeling that you probably see every day as a holiday in some way.
Every day is a holiday, yes, here in Hollywood. Well, yeah, I mean, it's nice to feel, you know, it's nice to feel the same way. It's like when you feel a holiday, it's nice to feel strong about things and see images that you like, and also you try to create that in some form or another. So, you know, that way, I guess, you try to make things kind of festive in some way.
Well, since you grew up here in the Los Angeles area, have you ever run across any of the people you grew up with who...
I went to this reunion, like a high school reunion.
You did?
It was weird. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know many people in high school. It's just so weird, you know. It's like, it's just weird. You know, it's just, life is very strange that way, you know. I didn't really know any of these people very well. They're all, you know, it's just, it's like some people that were like, you know, some people kind of peaked in high school. It's a little scary.
I know, right, right.
It's weird.
Right.
You know, and the people that were actually tortured, you know, were incredibly, like, it kind of says something weird about life. It's like pretty across the board. The ones that seem to be the most tortured and, you know, if it had been born in the times of the Salem witch trials, probably would have been burned at the stake. You know, these people are all now like really kind of great. You know, it's like something about the people that survive that kind of torture kind of come out of it.
So were you one of those survivors? Are you one of those survivors?
Well, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
What happens next on Extreme Close-Up is Tim's answer to therapy.
Yeah. It's much better to buy pencils and paper than, you know, shell out a check for $100 every week.
Were you able to, you know, let's see, express your art and your creativity when you were a child?
Yeah, and it's really good. You know, I think that that's the kind of thing that kind of saves you and gets you through certain things, is to be able to kind of go interiorized and kind of create whatever it is you want, because nobody can tell you what to do then. You know, it's like you're doing whatever you want, and it's really, I think, important. It was important to me that, you know, it's like everybody, because I always, I don't know, maybe it was the time or the place or whatever, but there always seems to be forces going like, no, you know, even in the education system, no, you can't do this, or you have to do it that way or this way or whatever. And so it's really nice to retain sort of an interior world where you can just do whatever, and that's important, and nobody can tell you what to do.
Did it keep you alone a lot of the time, though?
Sure, but it's, you know, I'd much prefer to be there than, you know, somebody just telling you no all the time about something or other. You know, it's like, so it doesn't, you know, that kind of alone is okay.
So either your parents didn't tell you no, or you just ignored them.
Yeah, yeah, or I just had bad hearing and couldn't hear anybody. I don't know.
What do you think about today, children today, though? Do you think they have enough outlets to express their art and creativity?
I don't know. I don't have children, so I don't. But I always get the sense that there's a lot that it's like I know the kind of stuff I grew up on, and I was glad that nobody was telling me I couldn't watch it or do it, because I think my own belief is that children have their own. They're very intelligent. They have their own. If they can't watch something, then they won't watch it. Or if something freaks them out, they won't watch it. And I've seen instances where adults will try to freak out their kids by saying, "Oh, this is too horrible," and then they get all freaked out. So I think, for me anyway, they have their own barometers, and I think that the world gets really crazed about what they should see and what they shouldn't see, and I think there are things that are more subversive and more weird and more damaging, and then there are things that, it's like old fairy tales, which are so horrific, but they kind of, I think, for children, make them understand that abstract, you know, life is abstract at that point, and there's these abstract, surreal stories, and it seems that maybe those do serve a purpose, you know, and if something just looks weird, it's no reason to just, you know, drag the kid out of the theater or whatever.
Right. You when you're not doing movies, used to like to draw.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Now that I don't have to do it for a living, I love it even more. When I had to do it, you know, when I was like chained to it, I was like, I just sleep all day. I learned how to sleep sitting up really well with a pencil in my hand. It was so great.
Boss walks by, oh, he's hard at work.
Yeah, that's the only thing I learned really was really great. But I don't now do that. I mean, now that I don't have to do it for a living, it's really fun, and it's just like a nice thing. You know, it's great, yeah.
Oh, so now if you don't have to do it for a living, do you have something else that you like to draw that you weren't doing when you were...
You know, images, it's kind of great. It's how I kind of work out my own process of ideas. It's not so much of an intellectual thing. It's much more, you know, if like you're sitting there drawing and an image keeps coming back at you, you know, so it changes a lot of the time. And, you know, and then if it keeps coming back to me and I keep drawing it, then I think about it and try to think about the psychology of it and what it means. So it's a great way for me to work out ideas and things.
And you analyze your own work.
Yeah, and I analyze. Well, after an image comes, after a while, then you start to think about the intellectual side of it, what the psychology of it is, or if it means anything. And rather than thinking that first and then drawing something, it's much more interesting and fun to do it that other way.
Right. Then if you saves you money on therapy.
Yeah. It's much better to buy pencils and paper than, you know, shell out a check for $100 every week.
Oh, he knows the price.
Yeah, but maybe it's even more now.
Oh, see?
But maybe that was in the late 80s,
Okay.
perhaps. I don't know.
All right. No, but what is the most normal thing you do that people would just be really kind of surprised?
Well, I believe I use the bathroom like everyone else.
You know what? I knew you were going to say that.
I believe I spend 1/3, maybe a little bit longer, 1/3 of my life in bed, maybe a bit more when I'm depressed. I don't know. We all have to eat, sleep, and I'm the average. I can't really account for my time, really. I really don't know what I do.
Now, you do like to go to Thrifty's. I know that's a drugstore, by the way.
No, you know what I like? I like the James way better.
What's that?
That's back east. Boy, you could just spend hours and days in that place. It's like a Thrifty, but it's got more housewares and stuff in it. I don't know. It's like a Thrifty, but they got like other things in there as well.
Coming up next on Extreme Close-Up, Tim Burton tells us how he got the film bug.
Well, here, let's use this little cockroach as an example.